Welcome to the Homicide Canada podcast. I'm Phil, and I'm here with my co-host and producer Tami. This is podcast episode 64, and it's one of our main series where we cover the homicides in Canada in a past month. So this is the one for May 2024. And besides the podcast, if you don't know, we have a website, homicidecanada.com, and basically we try to have a post for every homicide there is in Canada. We're also on social media, so Instagram, Facebook, just type in Homicide Canada in the search and we should show up. We're on Twitter or X, also homicide_Canada. So you can always DM us there if you like. We have an email, info@homicidecanada.com. If you haven't listened to these episodes before, we basically kind of go over the most recent month, the number of homicides, talk about some noteworthy ones. We're recording this July 3rd, so it's pretty hot here, but this is covering May, so it's not so hot, I don't think. It wasn't so hot, at least we're based in Southern Ontario, so it wasn't so hot in May. Basically, I'm only mentioning this because Canada this year has had not so many homicides, and I don't know, the theory is always that there's more homicides when the weather's hot outside, but all right. So we'll start from the top like we usually do with a kind of a count of the year-to-date homicides in Canada, so that we've been able to find on the media and police websites. We're at 269 so far this year, 180 males, 74 females. So that projects out to 534, and that compared for the entire year, and that compares to the 739 that we found in 2024. So that is a lot lower than last year. That's a big decrease. And so that would come out to a projected homicide rate per 100,000 of 1.28. Year-to-date female homicides, 74. That projects out to 147 versus 154 in 2024. So interestingly, it seems the female homicides this year and last year, kind of similar pace.
Yeah.
And then for males, it's 180, and that projects out to 357 for the full year. And that compares to 537 in 2024. So it's the males that are the big decrease. So
that's unusual.
I don't know why. Like this is like 6 months basically. So I don't know. Sometimes if you do the stats after January, like maybe there's some statistical stuff going on there with only 1 month. But this is half the year, so I don't know. Unless some things go crazy in the second half of the year, Tami, then
I guess we'll see.
we're gonna have overall way less than last year, and the male number just really low. Like the projected male homicide rate per 100,000 is only 1.72, which is pretty low. For women, it's 0.71. And obviously, more males get kills than females. That's one thing we've learned from this podcast. But that's pretty wild. All right, so we got some stats for the current annualized murder rates per 100,000 for the provinces. Saskatchewan is on top with 4.23. That's a little surprising because most years Manitoba's on top. There was 1 year I remember where Saskatchewan was. And so Manitoba's in second with 3.38, which is pretty low for them. Nova Scotia in third with 1.86. It's a little unusual. New Brunswick, 1.65. BC in fifth with 1.53. Alberta with 1.5. Ontario with 1.02, which is pretty low. Newfoundland, 0.73. Quebec was 0.73, and PI is at 0 because they haven't had any homicides yet.
They've had one.
Oh, have they? Okay.
Yeah.
I must have missed that one. Okay. That'll kind of change the stuff for them. All right. For the big cities, the annualized homicide rates, we got Vancouver on top with 4.79, which is a bit of an anomaly, but that's mainly because of what was it called? The Lamu Lamu incident? Or
I think Lapu Lapu Day.
Lapu Lapu, yeah. That was the Filipino festival when the guy drove into a bunch of people. So that's why Vancouver's on top. Without that, they would not be. Winnipeg is in second in the major cities with 3.7. That's not usually too surprising. Edmonton in third with 3.53. Then Regina, 3.5. Ottawa, 2.53. Hamilton, 2.09. Montreal, 2.03. Halifax, 1.8. Calgary, 1.52. Brampton, 1.51. In Ontario, Toronto, 1.21. Vaughan was 0.61. And Mississauga, only 0.55. So, Mississauga suburb, borders Toronto. It's got a lot lower than Toronto. So that's kind of interesting.
And in May of 2025, there were 32 homicides compared to 55 in 2024. So that's a 41% decrease. I think that's the lowest count since maybe December 2018.
Really?
Yeah, for the monthly count at least.
That is really low.
Yeah.
So, and the one thing is I guess we were discussing kind of the weather earlier at the top. And I guess there was, I think I did see that May there was some places that were warmer. I think the prairies were warmer in that month. And like, I think Southern Ontario wasn't super hot, but it wasn't like, like -10 or anything like that. It was just a
No.
bit of a cold May, but
Yeah. it was
but
cold.
yeah, that's kind of wild. I'll be curious to see what the June stats are like, because like Southern Ontario, Quebec, and that with the big population centers, like it's been a hotter June, I think, than May for sure. So yeah, we'll see if the murder rate goes up. But that's pretty wild, because I think April was pretty similar
Yeah.
to last year, but like yeah, the other months, all of them, all been way less. And I don't know. I think. Do you have any idea why people are
I have no idea.
killing each other less? I have no
Yeah.
idea.
I think there'd be more with like the pressures of housing and
Yeah, no, it's true. Like the
food
economy
and-
is not doing so great, so you think there might be some problems there. But like, I don't know. The only thing I can say is it doesn't seem like there's been a lot of like on the West Coast. There's a fair number of gangs and that, and sometimes there can be some killings there. And I don't think there's been too many lately. So
No, there hasn't been too many gang killings, although I think there was one in Montreal last night.
oh,
So.
okay. So, but yeah, but there, overall there hasn't been too many. So
No.
yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. That's good for Canada. So yeah, less killing. All right. Yeah. So usually for these monthly podcasts, monthly roundup, we go through the oldest victim. That's 83-year-old Eleanor Doney in Pickering, Ontario, just outside of Toronto. A tragic and disturbing incident unfolded in Pickering on the afternoon of May 29th, just after 3:05 p.m. Durham Regional Police responded to a report of a stabbing on Lynn Heights Drive. The victim, an 83-year-old woman, was attacked outside her home in what police are calling an unprovoked act of violence. Surveillance footage reportedly shows a brief interaction between the woman and a boy who was believed to be a stranger before he suddenly stabbed her. She was rushed to a trauma center in Toronto, but sadly she did not survive her injuries. The victim has since been identified as Eleanor Doney. Following the attack, the suspect fled the scene on foot. Later that evening, around 8:40 p.m., police confirmed the arrest of a 14-year-old boy. And he has been charged with first-degree murder. So, yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, and at first they said they were looking for a man, so it must have been a pretty tall boy.
14-year-old.
Yeah.
And I guess as far as we know, there was no relationship between the people. This was kind of just a random stabbing
just
outside and that.
Random, and it was like an affluent neighborhood too. Like
Really?
It just seemed out of character for that neighborhood.
So yeah, it's just we have there's been no reporting from the police or anything on like any reason why or anything like that. So
no, I'm sure we won't really hear anything because it's a boy.
Probably not. Yeah, it's like under the Young Offenders Act, and interesting. It's been charged with first-degree murder because it's like I don't know, like one thing I listen to the podcast, we have to discuss whether a charge is manslaughter or murder to first degree. It's interesting that they charge them with first-degree murder. But I guess the thing is, if you just randomly go and stab somebody, then that's probably not manslaughter. Or at least maybe they won't be charged with it.
Yeah. I don't know. He's a kid, so who knows what'll happen there.
Yeah, exactly. Like he could be charged with first, plead to murder, manslaughter. We don't know at this stage, but we'll be following it. All right. The youngest victim was a child under 10 in Shoal Lake, Cree Nation. On the evening of May 23rd, just after 7 p.m., Carrot River RCMP were called to a home on Shoal Lake, Cree Nation in Saskatchewan following a report of a seriously injured child under the age of 10. When police officers arrived, they found the child unresponsive. Despite the efforts of both police and emergency medical services, the child was sadly pronounced dead at the scene. Circumstances surrounding the child's death were deemed suspicious, prompting the Saskatchewan RCMP Major Crimes Unit to take over the investigation. A suspect, 23-year-old Karina Young from Paqua Lake, which is part of Shoal Lake Cree Nation, was taken into custody. She was originally charged with manslaughter, but as of May 30th, that charge has been upgraded to second-degree murder following further investigation and consultation with public prosecutors. Investigators said Young and the child were known to each other. Young made her first court appearance on May 26th via video in Melfort Provincial Court. The case remains under active investigation, and authorities have not released further details at this time. Our thoughts with the community as they process this heartbreaking loss. So I guess, Tami, they said that the investigators said Young and the child were known to each other, but like, obviously, I don't think they're obviously mother and child, but maybe
they're family.
Maybe there's some family somehow, but they haven't said that.
No, they haven't. They haven't said so.
Okay.
I don't know, and they haven't, which is odd. They haven't said the age of the child.
Yeah, just under 10.
Yeah,
And they haven't said
the gender.
the
either.
gender either in that.
No, it's
So
weird. It's a weird one, but
yeah. And then there's no well, it says, like, as we said, the circumstances surrounding the child death were deemed suspicious. So I don't know, like a seriously injured child. I guess the thing is, yeah, like a serious injury could be like the kid fell off the playground, like a playground piece of
Right,
playground equipment.
yeah.
But like obviously, I guess here,
to lay a manslaughter charge.
like, yeah, then there must be something that. But yeah, but they have not said anything about the injuries
No.
except for that. Yeah, it was major. So okay. All right. The provincial homicides in the month of May in 2025. So Ontario had 9, Quebec had 5, Alberta had 4, BC had 3, Manitoba had 3, Saskatchewan had 3, New Brunswick had 2, a little unusual. Nova Scotia had 2, and then everything else had 0, including the territories. So.
In the cities with more than one homicide, Edmonton had 3, Winnipeg had 3, Ottawa had 2, and Saskatoon had 2. And murders by type, there's 15 unknown, 5 stabbings, 5 shootings, 4 beatings, and 2 others.
Okay. Yeah, so we know about
About
half.
half.
That's not
Yeah.
bad. So
Not great, but not
Yeah.
bad.
it's interesting. I think like usually like the ones we're mostly likely to know about is like a shooting. I think just because like somebody else hears a shot and then
Yeah.
that gets reported. But
Yeah,
okay.
and they've been wording stabbings strangely
Yeah.
recently. So penetration with a sharp object. So
Yeah, like I don't know. If somebody stabs somebody with a big knitting needle, is that like
It's
is that
still
that can
stabbing,
still?
right?
I think that's still stabbing. But
Yeah.
anyways, okay. All right. So the domestic murders we know of in May. We're trying to track this from the last few months. So 71-year-old Franklin Ilum was found deceased in Laval, Quebec. The victim's son, Thomas Eric Ilum, 26, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Joey Bilodeau charged with the murder of his partner, Mylene Mason Bassett, in Sherbrooke, Quebec. Marcelin Como Mabo, charged with the murder of his wife, Jules Dumochel, in Chateauguay. I assume that's Quebec too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The couple is said to be in the process of separating when the homicide occurred. A 25-year-old woman was fatally stabbed in Kingston. 26-year-old Haddon Harper Brewer was charged with first-degree murder in connection with the death of his intimate partner. And then Virginia Theoret, 82, was killed by her husband, Kurt Theoret, 84, who then killed himself. Yeah, that's pretty tough, like 2 80-year-olds having a murder-suicide.
It seems to be happening more often, like elderly people.
I guess the thing is you don't know. I think occasionally there's one that's more kind of like a pseudo-made in that, but like you never know. Like maybe this, I'm just not really speculating, but just sort of saying occasionally it'll turn out that it was more kind of a mercy killing than anything, but we don't know in this case. So, all right. So then, in these podcasts, the monthly ones, we usually go through the noteworthy murders that happened. So for May, all right. So a Brantford, Ontario house fire claimed the life of a 49-year-old woman. Just after 7:45 in the morning on May 5th, emergency responders, including Brantford Police, Fire, and Brant County paramedics, were called to a burning home on Buchanan Crescent. Sadly, one of the residents, identified as Charlene Shallard, was rushed to hospital but didn't survive. She wasn't just a name in the headlines. She was part of the Brantford community, and for years she worked cleaning tables in the food court at Linden Park Mall. Those who knew her say she always had a warm smile. She also gave back every holiday season. Shallard could be found volunteering the Salvation Army's kettle campaign, collecting donations for those in need. So there was 3 other adults who were inside the home at the time who were also taken to hospital with injuries. Now police have confirmed a major development in the case. On May 6th, a 40-year-old man identified as Lee Petrie in court records was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in connection to the fire. According to his Facebook account, it says he's a jack of all trades and a nightclub promoter.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's like, nightclub promoters, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I'm sure there's some fine, upstanding citizens that are nightclub promoters. So as the investigation continues, the community is mourning a loss. So, we've done in the podcast like a lot of like there's been a lot of fires and that.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the time it can be they killed someone and then lit the place on fire, hoping that the evidence goes away. I guess we don't know that in this case. I guess the thing is there were other people in the house, so so we don't know if the guy lit the place on fire and then only one of them ended up dying from the fire, or what exactly happened here. So
I'm sure they're keeping that under wraps for like a trial, right? Because they don't want people to know what actually happened because they have the guy now. So
All right.
we'll see. I'm sure that'll be in a couple years.
Yeah.
Everything's so slow here.
Exactly. And yeah, we don't know anything about the relationship between the people who are in the house and the person who was been arrested. So
No. Okay, Ford charged with manslaughter after a fatal assault in downtown Peterborough. On Sunday, May 18th, just before 10 p.m., Peterborough police responded to the reports of a disturbance near Brock Street and George Street North, right in the downtown core. When officers arrived, they found what started as a verbal dispute had escalated into a violent confrontation involving the victim and a larger group of individuals. The victim was rushed to hospital, but despite efforts to save him, he died from his injuries the next day on Monday, May 19th. Following an intensive investigation, police now say they believe the attack was deliberate and the victim had multiple encounters with suspects throughout the evening. And here's what we know so far about the arrest. Detectives arrested 26-year-old Matthew Jansen Supernal, who was initially charged with aggravated assault and held for a court appearance later that day. Then on Tuesday, May 20th, 2 more individuals were taken into custody. Dylan Moffat, age 24, and Matthew Smith, age 35. Both men have now been charged with manslaughter and remain in custody ahead of scheduled court appearances. And later that same day, a fourth suspect, 24-year-old Noah Stetsky, surrendered to police. He too has been charged with manslaughter and is being held for his court appearance. And police are still urging anyone with information about what happened to come forward and contact the Peterborough Police Service at 705-876-1122, extension 555.
So, we don't have a victim name then?
No.
Oh, and I forget. Do we have? We don't have an age either then, or
No.
No. Okay. So basically, it sounds like kind of a fight, late night bar fight, or maybe outside a bar or something like that. Or
Yeah, like he had multiple encounters, so who knows what happened that night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. And then the thing is, he died the next day as well. So could be, and then obviously, they're charging them all with manslaughter. So, all right. On to the next one. So, a manhunt that began following a fatal Mississauga shooting, Ontario, has led to arrests all the way across the country in British Columbia. So the shooting happened just before noon on May 14th near Tranmere Drive and Telford Way in Mississauga. When officers arrived, they found 51-year-old Harjeet Datta suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Just steps from G&G Trucking Solutions, the family-run business he helped lead. Datta was rushed to hospital, but sadly did not survive. Immediately following the shooting, police said the suspect fled in a stolen black 2018 Dodge Challenger. That's quite the vehicle. All right. The vehicle was later recovered, but no suspects were initially located. The investigation quickly gained urgency after Datta's daughter, Gurleen Datta, publicly stated that her father had been targeted by extortionists from India. According to her, the extortionists had demanded $500,000, but her father stood his ground. My dad said he's not going to pay a single penny because he works for it, she told Omni reporter Levine Gill. Police revealed a breakthrough working with several agencies across British Columbia, including Delta Police, Abbotsford Police, Surrey Police, and the RCMP. Investigators tracked the suspects to Delta, where both men were taken to custody on May 28th. All right, this part is interesting.
Yes.
Peel Regional Police have now confirmed that 2 men, Aman and Dij Vijay, both 21 years old from Delta, BC, have been arrested and charged with first-degree murder in the fatal shooting of Harjeet Singh Datta. So you might have noticed, listeners, that these people, their first name and their last name is the same.
Unusual.
I think that's both of them are.
Yeah, I think that's only happened once before.
Yeah. So I don't know. And we're pretty sure that's like
That's what it said in the police report. All right, so I didn't mess up.
So that's pretty weird that they both have the same first and last name. Well, their first name, last names are the same. There's 2 different guys, and that's pretty wild. Yeah. Okay. People on social media seem to be interested in that as well. All right. The accused were flown back to Ontario with help from the BC Sheriff's Service and appeared at Brantford courtroom on June 1st for a bail hearing. Peel Police continue to ask anyone with further information to come forward. You can contact Peel Crime Stoppers anonymously at 1-800-222-TIPS. So obviously this guy, his business, trucking business, he's getting extorted. And they drive away in a stolen Dodge Challenger, and they all have the same first and last name. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
Yeah, very strange. Abbotsford police investigate the fatal stabbing of a youth. So just after 7:30 p.m. on May 25th, Abbotsford police responded to a distress call from Larch Park in the 2600 block of Beck Road. When police arrived, they found a male youth suffering from life-threatening stab wounds. Despite efforts by bystanders and first responders to save him, the young victim was pronounced deceased at the scene. He has now been identified as Billy Ladeau. Initially, police took 2 youths into custody near the park, but in an update, investigators confirmed that both individuals have since been cleared of their involvement in the incident. So police say early evidence suggests this was a targeted attack and not a random act of violence, and Abbotsford Major Crimes Unit is leading the case for now, but it'll soon be handed over to IHIT, or IHIT. Investigators are asking anyone who is in the Larch Park area between 6:30 and 8 p.m. on Sunday, or anyone with dashcam footage, to contact IHIT info line at 1-877-551-4448.
All right, so we don't have an age on this guy, but we didn't know he's under 18 or...
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it seems kind of random, like police just arrested 2 kids that were
Yeah.
near the park.
Because it does says this, despite efforts by bystanders and first responders. So I guess there must have been people there. And that,
Yeah.
So then maybe some people just around, they just kind of pick them up. So, all right. So turning to Winnipeg, police are investigating the fatal stabbing of Ralph Moyes and are actively searching for a suspect who is now the subject of a Canada-wide warrant. So just after 1 a.m. on May 23rd, police responded to a call in the 300 block of Cumberland Avenue. When officers arrived, they found 39-year-old Ralph Moyes, a member of the Saisi Den First Nation from Tildoo Lake, suffering from a serious upper body injuries. Officers performed emergency first aid, including the use of chest seals, before rushing Moyes to hospital. Sadly, he was pronounced dead a short time later. So chest seals, I don't know. Does that mean it's probably a stabbing?
Yeah, I think it was a stabbing.
Okay. Now the homicide unit is asking for the public's help to locate a suspect, 33-year-old Paul Xavier Bonnick. He's wanted on a Canada-wide warrant for second-degree murder, and police are urging anyone with information on his whereabouts to contact the homicide unit at 204-986-6508 or to call Crime Stoppers anonymously at 204-786-TIPS.
Yeah, we have a
Picture?
photo of him on
Okay.
Instagram and our website.
All right. Yeah, so that concludes the notable homicides in May. Yeah, there just wasn't that many homicides.
No,
Yeah.
nothing that
Yeah.
notable.
Yeah, so, yeah, just some you got to admit, sometimes some homicides are more run-of-the-mill than others in that, so. All right.
Not that not everyone
Yeah,
matters,
no,
but
they matter in that. It's just that for us, we can't do everyone, so.
yeah.
All right, so now we go on to some notable updates on some homicides that occurred previously and that. So, all right, so Jessica Martin, one of 5 people charged in the 2019 death of Jason John Brown of Kitchener, Ontario, was pleaded guilty to being an accessory after the fact to manslaughter. Jason John Brown, who had ties to the Outlaws Motorcycle Club and a drug habit, was abducted, beaten, tied up, and ultimately died en route or at a gang clubhouse. His body was found nearly 200 kilometers away from where he was taken. Jessica Martin, pregnant at the time and in a relationship with one of the accused, Travis Wand, admitting to destroying phones, burning bloody clothes, and picking up Wand after he abandoned the vehicle used in the crime. She claimed she didn't know about the murder at the time. She was sentenced to time served, which upset Brown's family, who felt she showed no remorse and that the justice was not fully served. Another accused, Joshua Drummond, pleaded guilty to manslaughter and received an 8-year sentence. The case remains painful for Brown's family, who say they lack closure and unanswered questions remain. So, yeah, obviously there's 5 people charged.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, she's, I guess, perhaps wasn't there when the killing occurred in that, but, like, certainly seems like she tried to cover it up pretty good in that, so.
Yeah. Okay. Maria Figliola, serving a life sentence for hiring a hitman to murder her husband Frank in 2001, has been granted escorted temporary absences from prison for rehabilitation purposes. Over the next year, she'll spend roughly 745 hours outside her minimum security prison, attending church weekly and visiting her 90-year-old mother twice a month to support family caregivers. Figliola, 69, has been allowed such absences for several years under strict supervision, with local police notified before each outing. She maintained she didn't order the hit but knew the danger and failed to alert the authorities. Despite the crime's deep impact on the victim's family, psychological assessments suggest her risk of reoffending is low, and the parole board highlights her efforts in therapy and education while in prison, but notes ongoing trauma caused by her lack of remorse. She remains eligible for full parole in 2032.
All right. So yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. So I guess she was charged in 2001 then, and I guess it was
Yeah.
2025. So, and I don't know. I guess she must have got first degree murder. I assume. So,
Yeah, because
okay.
she's serving a life sentence, so
Yeah.
it must have been. But
Yeah.
also that seems wild. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't. It's getting pretty close to the 25 years, I guess, that
Yeah.
for parole. But yeah, interesting that you can get out even before that. All right. So this is an interesting one. In Ottawa, Ontario, two sisters are on trial, charged with the first-degree murder of their 88-year-old mother, Q Lam. So the source, City News. This week in Ottawa, Crown prosecutors spent nearly 2 days, full days, questioning Chow Lam in the ongoing trial over the 2022 death of her 80-year-old mother, Q Lam. Chow, 59, and her sister Hugh, 62, both pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder in this case that has gripped the community. The trial began earlier this month in the Superior Court of Justice. Through a Vietnamese translator, Chow Lam took the stand and opened up about her complicated relationship with her mother, telling the court she loved her, but also that she killed her. I was scared my mother would hit my sister to death. She would hit me to death, Chow said. How old is the mother?
88.
88. Sometimes she just used a stick to hit us in the head. We had to protect ourselves. The sisters have since said since their arrest they endured years of physical and emotional abuse. Chow described the escalating violence in the family home, especially after her sister was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Yet under cross-examination, Chow could not point to specific serious assaults or injuries and agreed she had no defensive wounds at the time of the arrest. Prosecutors challenged the claim that the sisters were controlled by their mother, noting they held jobs, attended a temple, and took English classes. Prosecutors said the mother was sleeping, defenseless, when the sister struck her with a hammer and strangled her. Chow admitted she was angry at the time of the killing, a feeling she shared with police after her arrest. The emotional toll was clear throughout her testimony. She paused multiple times, breaking down as she recounted the worsening abuse. At one point, she told the court, "I'm a human being. I know what is right and what is wrong." Chow also expressed frustration, saying, "The more I talk, the more it looks like I try to blame my mom, so I will stop talking." The court adjourned several times as Chow's emotions took over. When testimony resumed, further questioning focused on her mother's health and mobility. Q Lam used a walker in her later years. Chow's testimony is expected to conclude soon. We'll keep you updated as the case develops. So yeah, this isn't the first case we've done when somebody's been asleep and somebody attacked them and then
but
said that
an elderly saying that they're afraid of her.
Yeah, and obviously, she's pretty old. So the victim.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm guessing that they're Buddhist. If they're going to temple, they're supposed to be really calm, right?
Yeah.
I guess not. All right. There's been an update in a tragic case from London, Ontario, involving the fatal shooting of a nurse, Linda Marquis, in 2021. So multiple shots were fired into Marquis' vehicle, but the intended target was her fiancé, Ali Badi. On September 10, 2021, Amar Patel drove a black Volkswagen Jetta into their home on West Roke Drive, where the violent attack unfolded. Court proceedings revealed that Patel had been staking out the residence for hours that day. Surveillance video shows Patel waiting while two gunmen carried out the shooting of Badi, who was driving a white Dodge Charger.
What's this? Was the other one like a Dodge Charger or Dodge Challenger?
I think it was a Challenger.
Okay, all right. Both Dodges, though.
Yeah. Marquis was with him at the time and was tragically killed, and she was an innocent victim caught in the crossfire because of her connection with Badi. So the update here, Patel has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder, but was sentenced to life in prison for manslaughter with no immediate parole eligibility. He was also given a DNA order, a lifetime weapons prohibition, and a non-communication order with his co-accused in the case. So Justice Alyssa Mitchell described the attack as calculated, brazen, and extraordinarily violent, carried out in a quiet residential neighborhood in North London. Patel has a long history of criminal offenses dating back to his teenage years, including armed robbery and restricted firearms. Despite the seriousness of the crime, he has not assisted police in finding the two gunmen who remain at large.
So it's his fiance accidentally gets killed when he was the target, and then he's not doing anything to.
No, this is Patel. This is
Okay.
the guy who drove, the driver.
Oh, I see. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah,
in
but
that,
still, like, you think I don't know, that seems kind of crazy just giving a manslaughter
Yeah.
if he's not helping, and
No, it's true too.
he knows who was in
And
the car
he
with him.
obviously knows who was in the car with him and that. So I don't know. If I was a judge, like I know manslaughter's less, but you can give like different sentences for manslaughter. So
Yeah.
if you're not willing to give up who these other people are, then I think it. Some people say snitches get stitches, but I think that's wrong. And yeah, if you're the judge, I would like throw the book at that guy if he's not going to say who else did it. So
Yeah, for sure.
all right. On to the next one. So, nearly 34 years later, House Hermit David Snow charged in cold case murder. So the Ontario Provincial Police have laid a new first-degree murder charge against convicted killer David Snow in the 1991 death of Angeline, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, Josephine Quisnell, who vanished near Peterborough and was later found dead in a wooded area. Snow, now 70, is already serving a life sentence for the murders of Ian and Nancy Blackburn in 1992. Quisnell's case had gone unsolved over 3 decades. She was last seen on October 7, 1991. Her body was originally discovered a month later. Police said that they never stopped investigating and finally brought charges this week. Known as the House Hermit, Snow had been living in vacant cottages during a period of escalating criminal activity in the early 90s. After the Blackburn murders, he fled to British Columbia, where he was later arrested for a series of violent crimes. The new charge has not been tested in the court, and the OPP is encouraging anyone with additional information to come forward. I wonder if this is like something to do with DNA getting tested then, or?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because how would they all of a sudden figure that out if it wasn't?
Yeah, because you wonder, since he's 1991, and then serving a life sentence for 2 murders in 1992, you wonder if this is the same area, if the police would have maybe had considered him a suspect in that and the other murders in that, but they just didn't have any evidence in that, and then maybe they're able to. I don't know. We don't know. We're just speculating at this point. So.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I wonder if they'll ever come out and say. I often wonder now that 23andMe has gone bankrupt if they just give all their files to the police.
Yeah.
Because that would make it a lot easier. Okay. A teen who fled to Europe after Roland Hamilton murder sentenced to time served. A 19-year-old who can't be named due to a publication ban has been sentenced to time served after pleading guilty to assault causing bodily harm and accessory after the fact in the 2022 killing of Danielle Strauss in Hamilton. Danielle, 38, was known for opening her home to troubled teens. One of those teens whom she considered a street son repaid her kindness with violence. In November 2022, she was beaten and later fatally stabbed after accusing a group of teens of stealing money from her. Her body was discovered days later in her bedroom. The youth fled from Canada shortly after the murder to Europe with help from his mother, who now faces charges as an accessory. He later surrendered on New Year's Day 2023 and spent 29 months in custody, the equivalent of a 3-year sentence with credit for pre-trial detention. The man expressed remorse in court, telling Danielle's grieving family that he was sorry. His lawyer said he had spiraled after the loss of a friend, the same tragedy that led him to meet Danielle in the first place. One of the other teens involved has already been convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced, and the case continues with further proceedings and expected for others involved.
I forget. Wasn't this case they originally beat her and then came back a day later
to kill her?
And yeah, she was still alive. I think they were trying to clean up and then just found out she was still alive and then finished her off. So
it seems crazy.
That's pretty heartless. So
yeah. Especially because she was helping these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Teenagers scare me.
exactly. Don't let them into your house.
No.
All right, next one. Jeffrey Smith was charged as Hamilton police confirmed remains at a Glanbrook landfill are those of Shalini Singh. So we talked about this case before. So Shalini Singh, 40, was reported missing from Hamilton on December 10th, 2024, after last being heard from on December 4th. What started as a missing persons case was soon taken up by the homicide unit after police uncovered worrying details from her apartment. So CCTV showed that Shalini never left her building after she was last seen. Authorities suspect that she was killed in her apartment, and their body was disposed of through the building's garbage chute. Initial searches at a waste transfer station turned up nothing, so investigators began an extensive search at the Glanbrook landfill on February 25th. So we suspect that this building is Landmark Place in Hamilton, or
Yeah, I think it might be.
yeah,
Just
that's like
based on
yeah.
Instagram posts.
I think Hamilton's currently the tallest building, but it dates from like the 70s, so it's
Wow.
a pretty decent sized building. So I don't know. I guess maybe I don't know. Like, I guess kind of reading between the lines, like obviously chopped her up and then disposed of her, and yeah. So this is a big, pretty tall old building, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then and so then a breakthrough came on May 21st when partial human remains were discovered. Experts from the Office of the Coroner, the Ontario Forensic Pathology Service, and the Centre of Forensic Sciences conducted DNA testing, and on June 20th, they confirmed the remains were Shalini's. That same day, Jeffrey Smith, 54, was arrested in Burlington and charged with second-degree murder and indignity to human remains. Authorities revealed that he and Shalini had been in a long-term common law relationship spanning 5 to 7 years. I guess Shalini worked like in mental health, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know,
I think he was also he had some mental health
Yeah.
issues. A 24-year-old man from Brampton has been charged with second-degree murder following the 2023 death of a child in Gravenhurst. So the Ontario Provincial Police in Bracebridge shared on Monday, May 21st, that 2 individuals have been arrested after an investigation into the child's death, which occurred January 2023. According to police, the child suffered severe injuries, and emergency services were called to the report of the injured child around 7:45 p.m. on January 5th. The child was transported to a hospital but passed away 2 days later. The 24-year-old man was taken into custody on May 20th, 2025, and charged with second-degree murder. The following day, a 33-year-old woman from Gravenhurst was arrested and charged with failing to provide the necessities of life. And according to Aurelian Matters, the accused has been identified as Tyler Philip Whale, 24, of Brampton, and Justice Osborne, 33, of Gravenhurst. Both individuals are expected to appear in Bracebridge on May 23rd, so that's already happened. And due to a court publication ban, further details of this case cannot be made public at this time, but anyone with relevant information is urged to contact Bracebridge OPP at 1-888-310-1122.
So he has been charged with second-degree murder, but she is arrested with failing to provide the necessities of life.
Yeah, so I wonder if the kid was injured for a while and she never
And that took him to the hospital or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a sad one.
Yeah.
All right, now to the last one of the pod, I think. So a Hamilton man was charged in the 2023 death of infant Annalay Story. So on November 5th, 2023, around 5:46 p.m., Hamilton Emergency Services responded to a 911 call reporting a baby in distress in an apartment on Champlain Avenue. When first responders arrived, they found 4-month-old Annalay Story unresponsive. She was rushed to the hospital and tragically pronounced dead shortly after. Initial autopsy reports suggested the circumstances surrounding Annalay's death may have been suspicious. At the time, she was under the care of her mother's boyfriend, who cooperated with investigators and was released without charges. The investigation continued. In the months following her death, Hamilton police conducted extensive interviews with family members and carried out multiple search warrants. A full autopsy report was later received and confirmed that Annalay's death was not due to natural causes. Based on the new forensic evidence, police determined there were grounds for criminal charges. And so on May 1st, 2025, 23-year-old Damon Warren Baker was arrested in Hamilton and charged with manslaughter in connection to the infant's death. He is set to appear in court on May 2nd, 2025. So yeah, this is like almost, no, not almost, but maybe a year and a half later, roughly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's the May podcast. I think, what episode 64?
Yes.
So yeah, interesting. I guess the one thing to take out is like less homicides in Canada. We're not sure why. And the one thing we do know is less males are getting killed.
Yes.
So females about the same, less males getting killed. We're not sure why, but it's a good thing. So all right. So just to reiterate what we said at the top. So besides the podcast, we have the website homicidecanada.com. So we try to have a post for every homicide, and then we also have pages for all the provinces, the major municipalities. So we try to have a list so each province, every homicide we find, and for the big municipalities, we have page 2 that has every homicide. So yeah, if you're from Toronto or Edmonton or Halifax and you want to like find out how many homicides there's been and then who is it that got killed, then yeah, just go to homicidecanada.com and you should be able to find it pretty easily. So yeah, email is info@homicidecanada.com. So you can tell us if we missed a murder, because sometimes we do in your province, municipality, or province, or if there's anything else you would like to say. Our Twitter is X is homicide_Canada. Our DMs are always open. So yeah, you can follow us on X, and we often will put like a link to the pages for Homicide. And then yeah, we're also on Facebook and Instagram, so you can search us Homicide Canada, and I'm pretty sure it'll come up. So all right, until the next one.